Crystal Raiders patch 4. Hello and welcome to this quick little patch notes video. I thought, I don't see many people doing these on YouTube specifically. I know some streamers gloss over these on stream, but that's about it. I thought I'll do more of a analysis on this, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. So Turkish and Arabic have been added as languages. I think that's always good. Personally, no matter what game I play, I think it's weird if you don't play in English. Like, I learned English as a kid, just being on the internet. But, for those that do want to play it in their native language, then yeah, Turkish and Arabic, that's good. Language support, always good. Server names changed. Albion East and Albion West have had their names changed, which obviously Albion Europe is coming out, so yeah, makes sense. Mobile changes now. I don't play on phone. Most people don't play on phone, but good for you guys. I don't know what Vulcan is, but yeah, congrats. Anyway, let's go on to the important stuff, which is why everyone's here probably. Combat balance changes. Actually, before we do that, let's the patch is out and you can see what your ping will be in Albion Europe here. The server is in Amsterdam. Mine keeps jumping between like 20 and 40, as you can see, like it jumps back and forth. But yeah, so if you download the patch, you can open the game and you can see what ping you'll have basically. So that's pretty good. Now, okay, now onto the combat balance changes. So, Great Fire Staff got a slight buff or a massive buff depending on how this change actually works. Now the cooldown reduction is not 5 seconds anymore, but always reduces cooldown by 50% instead. Now instantly I'm getting flashbacks to there was a clip someone posted, I remember, from 20v20s where you just maxed out cooldown reduction, like Royal Jacket, Refreshing Sprint, and basically you could spam your E off cooldown as if you had 0 cooldown. And that was funny. I don't think it was that balanced, but they fixed it obviously. Now I don't remember how that interaction worked. I assume they made it so it doesn't work like that anymore. If it does, then it's probably slightly broken and they'll fix it. But if it works as I think it will work, which is just, 50% of the base cooldown, or whatever cooldown you have after applying the normal cooldown reduction, like omelets and stuff, right? Or cooldown passives on your leather gear, then it's just a slight buff, because that'll be like around 7.5 seconds to 7 seconds depending on what food you have and so on. Now I think this is mostly a good change for 2v2s, because in ZVZs obviously it's not gonna see play, also it's ranged DPS so it's not gonna see play. In 10v10s people just play Dawnsong instead, so yeah. In 5v5s, maybe we'll be try it out, but I don't think so. I don't think it will be played in 5s, but 2v2s, I can see it. I can see it experimented with more in 2s. Great Fire obviously used to be pretty decent, like A or B tier depending on your ping. This might, obviously it's dropped since then, but now it might go up slightly. Yeah, I mean, just can't really compete with Imp, but it's slightly better for 2v2s, that's what I think, but it won't be meta. Now onto the hammers. Earth Shatter, that's the Q, I think. Damage 55, that's basically 20% buff. Now, I think for the most part this is only really a change for mists. I don't think this will matter much in group play. Like, even though they were played in both of the contents, I think mostly people play plate and mist as well, like Armor of Valor and other stuff. I think this is mostly for mist, so it's a slight buff to hammers and mists. Yeah, Grovekeeper, slight buff on the range, which is nice. Now, I think this is a common theme, and we'll address this more as we go on to some of the other changes, is I think we are in a difficult situation where we see changes to weapons which don't quite make sense. You know what I mean? So obviously Grovekeeper has fallen off and doesn't see much play in ZVZs, and that's where you would expect Grovekeeper to shine, right, in ZVZs. Now the range got buffed, which is, right, it's a positive, right? It's a good thing, but that's not really the reason it doesn't see play. And I think that's the core issue, is some of these changes don't, it's almost as if the people who make these changes don't understand why the weapon doesn't see play, if that makes sense. So I think Grovekeeper at the moment has to compete with Heavy Mace. I know it. We'll address it next because it's getting nerfed by 2 seconds. But so Grovekeeper has the issue where it's competing with Heavy Mace, and it's competing with One-Handed Hammer. Actually, like, sees more play than Grovekeeper. Now, especially in a meta like this, where we are more of a brawl meta, right? Less than just only 3-to-1 engages. It's more melee dive brawl, and obviously you have the clap elements, and also bomb squads, obviously. But I think Grovekeeper is just seeing less play because it's just a really long cooldown, and you can't quite afford it, right? I think it's 30 seconds. Now I think the type of thing you would have to buff instead than the range, one, I think would be, you can lower the cooldown, and two, you could increase the radius. I think that would be, a better way personally, or like all of the three, because again, it doesn't see play anywhere, and the one content you would expect it to see play, ZVZs, it doesn't really see play. So personally, I think just lower the cooldown a little bit. I think it's 30 seconds right now. I think just lower to 25. So onto the maces. Heavy mace, nerfed to 20 seconds. Honestly, I already thought it was 20 seconds. But yeah, obviously, wherever people were playing heavy mace, they will still play heavy mace. This will not have that big of an impact, but it will tone it down over the span of longer fights. So yeah, they didn't have to nerf it to 25. I think 20 is okay. See what happens. Now, Camlin Mace is again suffering from what I was mentioning earlier about weapons being changed, not in the sense of the way they should be changed. Again, this is my opinion, right? But I think these weapons should be changed in a different way, because the the range of it is not the issue, and the cooldown of it is not the issue. Now, don't get me wrong; these are nice buffs for it, right? Obviously, it's better than it was before. Cooldown, 25 seconds, great, right? But Camlin will still not see any play whatsoever because of these changes, right? Camlin has not seen almost any play the past year or more, basically, in any serious Zerg. People play more sophisticated methods of clumping people together, And I think, again, this is one of the issues, is if you don't know why the weapons don't see play, then you won't know how to buff it necessarily. Now, let me show you, right? Let me log in here real quick. I prepared some stuff before I started this video, right? So I have a Camlin here, right? Now the E, nice, 25-second buff. Now if I throw the E, right? First of all, note 0.7-second cast time. Let's just round it down to 0.5, because you might run like Avapor Combats or something, but round it down to 0.5, right? You have to throw it, has to land on the target, and then there's a delay before it actually pulls everyone in. That is a long period of time for people to react. Now, first of all, not only can your E get interrupted by just, any tank looking at you and it gets interrupted, like, this is a long cast time. It has the travel time as well. Like, if you just, like, the range is nice, the range gets slightly buffed, but look, cast time, the travel time, and the pull time. That is a long period of time. I wouldn't be surprised if that's over 2 seconds of time that people can react to. And that's not the only issue, right? A lot of time to react to, but also this thing can get body blocked so incredibly easy. I think the only way like Camlin will ever see play in the near future is like you have to remove the cast time. Like not even just lower it, like you have to remove it. Just make it zero, like make it 0.1 or something, like if you really want to. But I just, it's just not really viable at the moment. Especially like, you know, they added End to the game. They've added all those tools to absorb engages, right? It's crazy, like Rune, you know? Like people just play Air Compress instead, right? Which, by the way, Air Compress got nerfed, if you guys remember, to 1.5 seconds, right? So I do think that change was bad as well, because 1 second is more than enough time to react to. And also now Ent is a thing. They really didn't need to nerf this to 1.5 seconds. Like it's just a little silly, I think. And but if we continue the patch notes though, uh, but yeah, that's what I would say. You know, just remove or lower the cast time to like 0.1. Now, one interesting change here we'll see on the helmets is I think these two helmets. The first thing most people think about when they see them is, okay, these are helmets for ZVZs. Maybe not exactly for like Mistwalker Hood. You know, some people try it in solo content or whatever. But Face Kill Hat, I think, at least I think a lot of people see this, what it does, and they think, this is good for like, you know, range DPS and ZVZs. Now, obviously, people don't play range DPS. So as a result, Face Kill Hat will not see play, basically. So like this is going about it backwards, I think, because Face Kill Hat, you know, shorter cooldown is nice, and 5 seconds is enough. 7 seconds a little longer than you need, realistically. So overall, this is a good buff. But I think this buff is, you know, I don't think it's gonna do much for ZVZs personally. But one thing it will do is it will make this, obviously not this armor and boots, but it'll make these two, because now Boltcasters notice it has 20-second cooldown, right? So if you do this and this, cannot be interrupted. I'm pretty sure you can probably throw in a W in there. I'm not sure. Let's try that. But either way, the point is, this helmet will not really be what makes range DPS viable again. Let's try that. Can I get my full channel off? Just barely the full channel if you click all. Well, so yeah. So that will make Boltcasters more viable for 2v2s, and I think that's it. I don't think that will change anything else personally. Now, you know, I might be wrong, but again, this is why I'm prefacing this video by saying these are my opinions, right? So that is definitely something you should consider trying. And I have tested it, by the way. When the hat is active, you will not be interrupted by polymorph. I tested this earlier, so you don't have to worry about imps just swapping to polymorph and just cucking you anyway. So, and now obviously you are missing a helmet slot, which is basically only for your WE. Yeah, but that is nice that, you know, we're getting something else to play, even if it's like only A or B tier. Probably B tier, but yeah. Let's continue the patch notes though. Mistwalker Hood, I think, again, as I said, both of these helmets, I think the initial reaction is to think these are good for ZVZs, right? Mistwalker Hood is obviously to avoid reflects, demon armors, and Failscale Hat is to avoid getting interrupted for range DPS. Pretty much only range DPS. Now, what is the issue with this? Obviously, range DPS doesn't see play in ZVZs right now, unless it's in a bomb squad. But the current bomb squads that see play are instant claps with Caliph Purity usually. So it's stuff like Clarent, Wailing, you know, Perma, Witchwork, sometimes Spirit, whatever, you know. But like quick engages which don't really require phase kill hats. So I don't think people will run this for ZVZs, but it is interesting because it now has 20 seconds and now the cooldown is more suitable for stuff like Boltcasters, for example. And 5 seconds is more than enough. So this is overall a good change, but again, this weapon, this helmet is very weird because it's very niche in how it's, how do you say it? It's very niche in where it's going to be used, you know? I feel like it's either going to be useless most of the time or OP, so it's hard to balance as well. That's why I don't personally like the design of it that much, but overall this is a good change, I would say. Now Mistwalker Hood, I think Wailing Bow doesn't get reflected. I actually don't remember, but either way, Mistwalker Hood is interesting, but not that interesting because we're in a mostly melee dive meta. So I don't know. You might run this with like Energy Shaper, but people don't play Energy Shaper, so probably will not change much. Probably won't make range DPS C play. Like this is not enough. Now Helmet of Valor is interesting. I think Helmet of Valor used to be good back in the day, but nowadays everything has a cleanse if you're playing a hood, a leather hood. Also you have merc shoes now. Also you have cleanse potions. So the added utility that was once there when you played Helmet of Valor, you have a flexible AoE purge or a cleanse, is now no longer there. Now, because everyone has access to cleanse basically, there's a lot more cleanses in the game. So I do think it makes sense that the cooldown got lowered, but I don't necessarily think it will see play. Actually, let's check how much is Fiend Cowl. Fiend Cowl. Fiend Cowl is 40 seconds. So it is, this one is obviously single target. Slightly more consistent because, you know, in theory you can dodge the Purge from Helmet of Valor. But now that they are the same cooldown, I don't know, I think Fiend Cowl might be buffed to 35 seconds. I think that would make sense. Especially considering it's AoE. Like it's multi-purpose. It's very good against something like, you know, if you're playing against Death Givers and 2v2s. You know, it's very flexible. But a cleanse is, you know, 20 seconds cleanse instead. Like, anyway, I don't think Helmet of Valor will see much play at all. Like, this is something that should have been changed a long time ago, just because of the many more cleanses we have in the game. Let's move on to the armor. Royal Armor, max targets 5 to 10. Good change. Yeah. I think it's overall good that a lot of items are being buffed to cover more than 5 targets, to have 10 targets instead. So yeah, I think it's a good change. Honestly will not, I don't really see it mattering that much, because people just run chariots and ZVZs from what I know. But maybe now you throw in a Royal Armor or two into your Zerg. But a lot of the Zergs will just be like, alright, just go Mistwalker jackets, Cleric cowls and shit, right? Because I dislike the meta especially because a lot of the Zergs, you have like 80% of the players are running Cleric cowl, Mistwalker jacket, and like Merc shoes, you know? Slight exaggeration, obviously, but you get the point. But Royal, and you might think, okay, Royal Armor, that's a good change for 10v10s, right? But, you know, your melee DPS, which is running Royal Armor, will usually at most cover like 5 people, right? The front line. But it is a good change, because, yeah. But it will rarely be useful in 10v10s at least. So, mostly ZVZs, sometimes rarely a benefit in 10s, I guess. But overall, a good change. Now, Fey Barrier, Brazilian Cape, shield value, buffed. 15%, if I counted the math right in my head. I think pretty good, but I don't think that's the reason people really play that cape. I haven't seen people use that cape much. Let's check that out real quick. Where are the... Am I smoking? Where's that cape? It's not here. Oh, it's there. I'm smoking. Applies a shield. Immunity to purges while the shield is active. Yeah. Spells passive cape fey stat block. Nice nice name there in the bottom right. I think it's nice, but I don't think that will be, you know, not sure if this will be the change that will make people play the cape. Demon cape, slight buff, pretty good. Doesn't really see play. But yeah, good change, slight buff. A Bridgewatch cape is getting a buff. I think Bridgewatch cape is seeing play already. It's definitely seeing play on Heavy Mason 10s. That is pretty niche though, so maybe they want more people to play on ZVZs or something, or open world in general, rather than just smart lock capes on everyone. But yeah, overall, I think also, yeah, not bad change. And spell fix, so charges continue to be applied even after switching to a different passive. Yeah, this change is really nice, by the way. UIs could scroll unpredictably, especially when like looting chests and Hellgates, like it just randomly scrolls on its own. Yeah. So that is a nice change. Overall though, as I said earlier, and I'm just noticing this video is over 20 minutes long, but well, I feel like I went over the stuff I wanted to cover. I do think, as I said earlier, we do have an issue where we're seeing changes which I think aren't addressing the issue, like why certain weapons or helmets or gear aren't seeing play. So I think the biggest example here is Camlin Mace. I think a deeper understanding of why Camlin is so bad right now. You know, you see these changes and you're like, alright, this will not make Camlin see play anyway. Like, not at all. So this change is like useless. Because that is not the reason Camlin isn't seeing play. Obviously these are nice changes, as I said earlier, but you know, this is not the reason Camlin isn't seeing play. It's just so easy to body block. It is such a long time until the pull actually happens that anyone with, you know, a brain and a turn on monitor can press one button to make it not work, right? Like, it's also very telegraphed, but I do think, like, okay, keep these buffs, you know, remove the cast time, make the projectile slightly faster if you really want to push it, and then see what happens. And you know, then maybe people will play it, because again, you can really easily body block it. Like if people start playing Camlin again, you know, it takes me back actually to when I first started playing this game and people are actually playing Camlin and Zergs or open world or whatever. It was always funny when someone dragged the Camlin into your Zerg. Bro, that shit was hilarious when the shot caller would get pissed and then that one guy got flamed. You hate being that guy. Anyway, now let me know what you think of this video. It is a little longer than I intended for it to be, but I hope it was worth it. If you'd like to see more of these patch note reviews slash analysis thingies, then yeah, leave a like. Otherwise, I'll just you know, I'll cover these very briefly in the tier list videos, like just the stuff that's relevant. But again, if you guys would like to see these, you know, for every patch, I'm definitely down to give you my thoughts, check out some things for you, some interactions that some of you might be wondering. I'm sure there's stuff I've missed or not thought about. And by the way, while we're looking at my Destiny board, let me flex my where the fuck are they? There you go. Let me flex my 120 all hammers. That will be useless soon because I'm gonna move on to the EU server. Feels bad, feels bad. Anyway, but yeah, guys, the patch is out today, so you can download it and check what your ping will be on EU if you're interested. Yeah, otherwise, I'll thank you for watching this video, and I hope we have a good one.